today's video we'll be talking about the MP5, which most consider one of the best SMGs in the entire game, if not one of the best weapons in the entire game. The class setup I like to use is the monolithic integral suppressor for the barrel, the 10mm auto 30 round mags for the ammunition, the stipple grip tape for the rear grip, the F-Tac collapsible for the stock, and sleight of hand perk so I can reload a little bit faster. Obviously, when it comes to class setups, there's certain things that are a little bit more personal to the player. Maybe you want to run a laser sight, maybe you want an underbarrel, maybe you want an optic. Everyone's going to have their own opinions about how they want to modify the weapon. This just happens to be one of my favorite class setups for the MP5. I've given you the what, which is the class setup, but since my channel is primarily about helping players improve, I also include the how to use the weapon, which I think a lot of content creators leave out. Also, a quick side note, I know some people only click on the video for the class setup, so if you're one of those and are about to click away, please remember to hit that like button before you do that. And if you're someone who's brand new to the channel or part of that 85% that keep on watching my videos but haven't yet subscribed, definitely consider subscribing before you click away. So in yesterday's video, I ended up covering how to use the M4 on a 10v10 map. Now I'm going to go ahead and cover the MP5 on a large scale map. And a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about can actually translate to some of the smaller maps, because obviously if you're using SMG, it is 100% geared towards using it on a smaller map on those closer engagements. So the MP5 is actually fairly consistent. If you're not running those 10mm rounds, you are going to have a 3, 4, all the way up to a 6-shot time to kill, which can be pretty slow at those further ranges. If you go ahead and upgrade to that 10mm ammo, which I'm using now, it's going to restrict your ammo a little bit. As you can see right now, I only have 30 rounds, so you got to be able to hit your shots. Luckily with the MP5, it is a relatively low recoil weapon. And I think in general, when people are going through the attachments, they don't realize how important it is to have the 10mm rounds, even though it's only dropping the shots to kill by 1. But what it's really doing is even pushing out all the other ranges out further. So whereas normally you'd have a drop off of right around 12.5 meters where it'd go from a 3-shot to a 4-shot, you're going up to almost like 20 meters or so. And since that headshot damage is based off the base damage, you're also extending out the headshot damage, so you can actually reduce the time to kill if you're accurate at range. So that's most of what I wanted to say about the weapon. Obviously, I wanted to talk mostly about the gameplay. What you're looking at here is an unchopped gameplay. Pretty much, I'm showing you every little death, every little kill from beginning to end, and kind of take you through my thought process, which, like I mentioned earlier, is the how with the what. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to push the enemy spawn. Obviously, I don't want to necessarily jump on A. What I want to do is focus on getting as many kills as I can. And I know that the enemies are going to be spawning primarily in their home spawn and A. And while this is all going on, my team starts to lose D as a whole because the enemy pushed over. They went and took A. So pretty much I'm already committed to my game plan, because I'm not going to push all the way to D at this point unless we happen to capture A. So right now, as I'm pushing in, I have no interest in A. All I'm trying to do is kind of hover around A, because that's generally going to lead to the most kills. And that's one comment I see a lot about ground war, is people feel like they're running halfway across the map and they're only getting like 10 kills a match, 15 kills. They'd be happy if they got 20 kills in a match. So the biggest mistake I think a lot of people make with that is they jump on the objective too soon, and then that ends up forcing all the enemies to be on the opposite side of the map. So I come around this left side, flank these enemies, get a few kills in here. I end up getting like 2 or 3 kills. While I'm reloading, the guy pops out, and I didn't even realize that's an enemy, because right above the name, they still haven't fixed that where it looks like it's a friendly, because an objective is kind of hovering above it, so you can't really tell if it's friend or foe. I spawn on a teammate. You can see my teammates kind of posted up on that silo. They got the same kind of thought process I do. I'm pushing in. My teammate's already on the objective, so I'm kind of just pushing up, going with the flow, get the free points. I can see someone's on the other side of this door. Push through, take the guy out. He's sitting there with the shotgun. And now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of kill them as they're coming to spawn. And the sad part is now a lot of the enemies are going to be spawning on D and E. So as soon as I kind of clear out the area, I make the decision if I want to go push to the other side, which is something I will typically do. And right here, that's kind of where you end up having to go, okay, well, I'm not going to run into a ton of people here. I want some kills. I'm going to push to the other side. So sometimes this works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's not like this strategy is 100%. Me running to the other side to kind of chase kills is going to 100% work, because that's not the case. With ground war, it's kind of really hard to tell where all the enemies are at one time. because there's 32 enemies on the other team. So because of that, sometimes it'll be a little bit slow parts within the match, but then there's almost inevitably fast parts if you understand how the flow of ground war works. And it's not one of those things you play a couple times and all of a sudden everything clicks. It's not necessarily like that. I know some of the comments that I'll get to is there's too many people camping, there's too many snipers. Usually after you've played a good number of matches, you really figure out where all the different locations are, where you're probably going to get hit from, and you kind of learn how to adjust. So the main objective I have right now isn't 100% kills at this point. I'm really trying to force the spawns. If my team is able to capture D and we also get our home flag, that's going to push all the enemies to the other side of the map. And right here I could see that we already lost B. We are losing A, so there should be a ton of enemies there, because anytime the enemies are capturing an objective, that's usually a good indication that that's where enemies are. Obviously I spawn in, kill a guy, get killed by a tank. Tank could be annoying as well, but instead of letting it just roam the map, I actually spawn in, throw my C4, expecting that I'm probably going to die again. I pull out my launcher and disable it. And what you really got to be aware of when you disable the tank is it's still able to fire, but more often than not the person will jump out. And that's why I'm already ready for them, switching to that weapon, ready for them to jump out. If he turned, he could have killed me, but that wasn't necessarily the case. I ended up getting a good long shot there. Right there would have been a slower time to kill at that range if I was using the regular ammo. Obviously, I probably would have had more bullets, but it's kind of one of those trade-offs. Coming in the building here, it looks like our team has already captured E, and I think that's another strategy people really aren't aware of. Right now that my team is contesting D with the enemy team, that means literally no one can spawn on D. All my teams are spawning at E and C. Looks like they're taking B. So pretty much the enemy team has nowhere left to spawn except for A and in their home spawn. If I capture A, we're going to most likely defcon, but that's not something I want. I actually want to still try and get kills. I'm playing my life. Obviously, this is a little campy. This is probably really the only time I played a little bit campy, but I wasn't sure exactly where that guy was. Turns out, looking at the shadow, you can see that he's on top of the roof, and then there are people outside. So I'm going to try and land a few shots here, get a couple kills, try and get my VTOL, and then obviously if I get my chopper gunner, that's a cool thing. I'll call it in. And a lot of times you just got to gauge the situation. You're either going to go for a nuke or you're going to try and cycle your streaks again. Typically I just go for the streak cycling because I want more kills, and normally if I have a VTOL and a chopper gunner, that's going to get me way more kills than if I just played patiently, camped, and then got a nuke. I'd probably get like 25 kills out of calling the nuke in. But for the most part, if you miss out on the nuke, then you missed out on an entire set of streaks. I'd rather just get the kills, especially the fact that the kill streak that you need to get a nuke is 30 kills. You're missing out on 2 VTOLs and 2 additional chopper gunners if you just try to stay alive. So what ends up being lucky for me right here is that the enemy team doesn't understand how to play ground war. And what I mean by that is they should be pushing for B, then push for C and hold that map control. Obviously, if they're behind by too much, then maybe push for D. But right now, you can see a lot of them are driving their vehicles over to E. And I know some people are all about that thought process. They think that that's the way you should play it. But normally what ends up happening is you just hurt your team because you go over there, you're kind of thin. Maybe you only got about 4 or 5 of you over there. You try to capture E, some of you guys die, and since any kind of contesting will stop the spawns, my team can spawn at D, they can spawn at the home flag, push E, contest it even for a second, kill a couple people there, retake it, and you're too far away to actually stop anything. So the smartest move in my opinion is to lock down A. Obviously you already have A, but backfill it, clear it out, and then start to push towards B. And since the enemy team has a bunch of players scattered among all the various objectives, you should have the numbers advantage at B, and then you just start to repeat that process to take C. And once you have that map control, you could either apply force and get D, or just kind of manage the lobby a little bit and just focus on getting kills, because at the end of the day, if you want to get kills, the match has to go the distance. Obviously, if it's a complete slaughter, they defcon at like 70 to 20, that's like 12, 15 kills. That's not a lot of kills. You're not going to be able to rack it up. You're not going to be able to learn the nuances of the map. It just doesn't happen. So a lot of times if you're playing the map effectively, you're going to be able to max out on kills. Here's a good example of that. All the enemies have been pretty much cleared through the objectives. You got those people still going all the way to E to try to make something happen, and I'm going to get full set of streaks again. Even though I just spawned in, I'm running into the enemy spawn. See, I don't have a lot of teammates there. They kind of held up at A, not really pushing out, and I'm going to play it effectively. Take out this next guy, throw some C4, clear him out, and on the mini map you can see a lot of them aren't running ghosts. So luckily a lot of them aren't running ghosts, or I'd probably get screwed here. I'm playing a little bit aggressively because obviously I want to get kills, and I'm still thinking that there's tons of time. This could be easy 80, 100 plus game, and I end up taking these guys out. The other guy doesn't really notice. I jump in the window, crouch in there, get in there really quick. Luckily, I see the mine, and that's able to stop me enough to take this guy out. And then I'm just working the house again like I was earlier when we only had the A flag. But it ends up getting a little bit tricky here because all my teammates jump on the A flag, and I'm just trying to race to get these kills as quick as I can. Jump up, call my VTOL, and then I end up calling in a chopper gunner. And even though the match ended super early, I still ended up with 64 kills, only 8 deaths for running around, having fun. And that's one of the parts I really like about Ground War. Now that I really understand how the game mode works, it actually plays a lot like the previous Call of Duties that we're used to, where you can actually run around the map. And you'll notice I didn't have to wait for dead silence or anything like that. I could just play smartly, move around the map. I'm going to rack up my kills, get my kill streaks, and then I'm going to have a ton of fun. Quick shout out to my partners linked in the description. If you use code JGOD on Respawn gaming products as well as Kontrol, Freeks, or Gfuel, you will get a discount. And on top of that, I will be live streaming later this week. So make sure you go ahead and follow me over on Twitch. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor hitting that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel or part of that 85% that just hasn't yet subscribed but continue watching the videos, consider subscribing to the channel with notifications on so you'll be able to find your way back. I do appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.